Friends, hello. Today we'll be learning this concept. That is the concept of capital gain. We'll see how tax planning is possible in relation to the income which is generated out of capital gain. First of all, we need to understand what is a capital asset. In fact, when I am talking about capital gain, few things. First of all, I need to understand. I need to explain. Give me 1 second now. First, we need to understand what is capital asset. Okay. Is it visible to you clearly?
Yes, sir.
First, we'll be understanding what is capital asset, because capital gain will be generated only when there is a transfer of capital asset. Second thing, we'll be learning what is the meaning of transfer. Okay, transfer is also important for us, because only when there is a transfer, then there is a possibility that capital gain may arise. Okay, and again, at this stage, let me give you some broad idea. This capital asset can be of again two types. One I will call long term, I will be calling other one is short term. There can be long term capital asset, there can be short term capital asset. And since there can be long term capital asset, there can be short term capital asset, there can be long term capital gain and also short term capital gain. And tax rates are different. It will be charged at a different rate of tax. This will also be charged at a different rate of tax. What are these tax rates? We'll be learning subsequently. Okay, since tax rates are different, so here is also some tax planning is possible. If you can convert a long term into short term or short term into long term, if you can do it, then you can get advantages of this tax. Is it not? Okay. So understanding capital asset is the foremost thing, most important thing. We'll be understanding that. And when this gain will arise, simply if you say when gain is possible. Suppose you are transferring at a particular value. Transferring the asset at a particular value. I am calling it as the consideration for transfer. Let us say at X amount. Okay. And the cost of acquisition is less than that. Let us say you are transferring at 10,000, but cost of acquisition and improvement is price 8,000. Then 2,000 will be your capital gain. This is a simple explanation of that. Of course, we'll be learning in detail. But if it is the other way around, that means let us say cost of asset is 10,000, sales consideration 10,000 rupees, cost is 12,000 rupees. Then what will happen? This will be loss. That is a capital loss. In this case, that's a capital gain, and here there is a capital loss. Up to this, did you understand this concept? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So now with this background, having understood this thing, now first of all, let us today understand what is capital asset. Maybe after that, we'll be understanding what is transfer. Then we'll think how to classify them and how to do tax planning, etc. Okay. Now I am going to share the file with you, share the screen with you. First of all, what is important here? Let us understand first this basis of charges, or charging section. To explain you that thing, let me take you through this section 45. Are you able to see it? No, I think you are not seeing it. Just a minute. Yeah, are you able to see it now? Are you seeing the PPT?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So yeah, friends. So these are the things. Basis of charges first will be learning. So any gain arising from transfer of capital asset during a previous year is chargeable to tax under that capital gain. But first, let me take you to the income tax department website. Let me show you what is section 45. Then we'll be visiting to other sections also. I think you are seeing now the Google search engine. Now let me take which section we are going. Who has remembered?
45.
45, right. Let me take you to this site, incometaxindia.gov.in. You already know. Go there. Right. Yeah. This is the Income Tax Department's website. I'm taking you to this place apps, and I'm taking you into Income Tax Act 1961. And I'm interested in a particular section. Now you see what is written here. Can you read it here? Section 45. Below that,
Capital.
capital gains. So let me enter into section 45. Now you see, this is the meaning of capital gain. You can easily understand. Any profit or gain arising from transfer of capital asset effected in the previous year shall, save as otherwise provided in section 54, 54B, 54D, 54E, 54EA, 54EB, 54F, 54G, 54H. So these are in fact exemptions. You can say. These are the exemption sections. So when exemption is there, one can do tax planning around this section. By using these sections, one can do proper tax planning. Okay, now you see, save as otherwise provided means unless they are exempted under this section, be chargeable to income tax under the head capital gain and shall be deemed to be the income of the previous year in which transfer took place. That means when it will be chargeable to income, in which year? In which year? Can you read it? In the previous year in which transfer took place. Okay? Are you with me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So understood. This is a broad concept. So we'll be learning that concept, but this is called as the charging section. So now you can also visit to Income Tax Department website and find out section 45, and you can understand what are the incomes which are chargeable under the head capital gains. So same thing I am explaining here. The any gain arising from transfer of capital asset during the previous year chargeable to Income Tax Act. Okay, under the head chargeable to income tax under the head capital gains in the immediately following assessment year if they are not eligible for exemption under this section. Okay, so this is a broad charging section we are understanding. But first of all, before entering into the topic, one thing at this stage is clear to you. First of all, there should be a capital asset. Okay, because what the provision say, gain arising from transfer of capital asset. First of all, we have to see there should be capital asset. Second condition is that, what is the second condition? Can anyone read it? Condition number 2.
The capital asset is transferred by the assessee.
So second important thing here is that it should be transferred. Capital asset should be there, transfer should be there. So first of all, we need to understand the meaning of capital asset as well as the meaning of transfer. Then we'll establish whether transfer took place in the previous year, and if there is any profit and gain arising out of that transfer, then we'll see whether it is exempt or not. If it is not exempt, naturally it will be charged. Okay, so when we talk about capital gain, it is the profit which results from disposition of capital asset. Capital asset includes many things which we will be learning, but gain will arise only when there is a higher selling price and the lower purchase price, there will be gain, and in reverse situation there will be capital loss. Okay, we have already seen section 45 how it will be charged. We have understood this. Now next thing we need to understand is the term capital asset. As you know, that is important. We need to understand what is the meaning of capital asset. To explain you the meaning of capital asset, I am taking you to this section. Can you read this section number?
Section 214.
214. Okay. You see, I have written it in the summary form, but I will take you to the Income Tax Department website to explain you what is section 214. Right. So let us visit now. We had visited this site. Now I'm again going here. So let me go to section 2. Section 2 is here. You already know section 2 contains all the definitions. So you can go there, section 2. Section 2, which clause number? Who can tell me? Which clause
14.
number?
14.
14. Otherwise, also you can search. You see, this clause will appear in alphabetical order. You see, A, amalgamation, B, additional commission. After A, then B, then C will get capital A. Okay. Okay, now you see B has been started business. After that, C has been started. You see, capital asset. Capital asset is defined. 214 is capital asset. Okay. Now you see, just I am purposefully showing you this particular definition because definition appear to be little long. First of all, you see, it says capital asset means you see two items are there, A and B. Means A and B. A is the property of any kind. We'll be saying what is that. B is securities held by foreign institutional investors. These are the two things. But again, that after that, what is written here? What it does not include. Are you reading it? So capital asset means A and B, but it does not include. That means now some exclusions are there. These are the things not included in capital asset. So we'll be saying under you see there are 6 exceptions are there. Okay, 6 exceptions are there. You see, first one is stock in trade, second is personal effect. But this exception has got one more exception. These are the exceptions. It does not include. But here you see personal effect is excluded, but it excludes. Exception to exclusion. That means these are the things which are again capital assets. Jewelry, archaeological collections, drawing, paintings, sculptures, artwork, etc. Okay. So normally there are 2 items which are covered under capital asset. Then there are 6 exceptions like this, 1, 2. Now you see below that you see exception 3, exception 4, 5 and 6. Okay. These are not capital assets, but there are some exceptions to exceptions also. Did you understand this? Okay. To understand capital gain or to explain you the capital gain, we have to visit to this definition right now. I am showing you the PPTs. Now exactly the same thing which is there, same thing I have written here in the PPT. You can watch that capital asset means property of any kind held by an RCC, whether or not connected with his business affairs. That which it doesn't matter whether asset is a business asset or his personal asset. It can be considered as a capital asset. Second thing, what is capital asset is any securities held by a FII, that is foreign institutional investor, which has invested in such securities in accordance with the regulations made under SEBI Act. So if some foreign institutional investor is holding some securities which is held in accordance with SEBI regulations, SEBI Act, then that is also capital asset. So these 2 items are capital asset. Did you understand this? First of all,
Yes,
property
sir.
of any kind. Second is securities held by FII but subject to some conditions. These are the capital asset. But as I told you, when this is the broad meaning, there are 6 exceptions to that. The first exception, let us say, first exception is that stock in trade. So stock in trade is not a capital. Suppose you are doing a business and you have some stock in trade. Let us say you are a trader and some items you are buying and selling, those assets which you are buying and selling, that is not your capital asset. Okay, let us say you are a furniture seller, furniture dealer. Furniture is just stock in trade. So that is not your capital asset. Okay, let us say you are a vehicle dealer. Vehicle is just stock in trade. That cannot be considered as a capital asset. But for other people, let us say you are not a vehicle dealer, you are a normal businessman and you got a vehicle. That's a capital asset. Okay, so it doesn't include a stock in trade, consumable stores item which are consumed in the production process. raw materials. All these things which are held for the purpose of business and professions are not capital asset. So therefore, I am saying capital asset does not include number one is stock in trade, consumable stores, raw materials. Okay, is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Second thing is that, or second exclusion is that it doesn't include personal effect. Personal effect can be movable property, including wearing apparel and furniture. Furniture can also be personal effect. All this wearing apparel, furniture, etc., which are held for personal use are personal effect. So personal effects are not capital asset. So any gain which is arising by transfer of personal effect that cannot be considered as capital gain. But you see, personal effects are excluded. But this personal effects excludes which items? Are you seeing it? How many items? Again, 6 items you are seeing which are excluded in personal. That means these are the items which are capital assets. Okay, can you read these items which are still capital assets? Even if they're personal effects. Can you read it out?
Jewelry, archaeological collections, drawings, paintings, sculptures, any work of art.
Yeah. So these are the items, as you see, jewelry, archaeological collections, drawing, paintings, sculptures, and artwork. So these are the items. Even if it may be personal effects, but still it will be regarded as a capital asset. So 2 exceptions I told you. Okay. Now, certain explanations also will understand that what is the meaning of jewelry. In the act itself, this explanation is there. If you again visit to the definition of capital asset, so in 214 you can find out this has been explained clearly. Jewelry includes ornaments made of gold, silver, platinum, or other precious metal, or any alloy. Alloy means mixed metal, okay, containing one or more such precious metal. So it can be any precious metal or a combination of such precious metal. Okay, whether or not containing any precious or semi-precious stones. Stones may be there, stones may not be there. And whether or not worked or sewn into wearing apparel. It may be fixed in a wearing apparel or it may be sewn, that doesn't matter. All these ornaments made of precious metal, semi-precious metal, alloy of metal, and this thing containing precious stones or semi-precious stones, all are included in jewelry. Precious and semi-precious stones are also jewelry. Okay, so that is important because jewelry is a capital asset. What is the meaning of foreign institutional investor? That has also been explained in the art. You can refer to that. What is the meaning of security? That has also been defined in the Security Contract Regulation Act. So one can refer to that. Okay, so what is important for us? The meaning of jewelry. We have understood that. So 2 exceptions I told you, stock in trade, etc. Second is jewelry. Third exceptions also you remember. What is this? Agricultural land in India. Okay, not being a land which is situated in this following areas. Meaning, the objective of this section is that rural agricultural land should not be considered as capital asset, but urban land should be regarded as a capital asset. Okay, so act is like this. Agricultural land not being a land, if you read, in an area which is comprised within the jurisdiction of municipality, whether you call it as a municipality, municipal corporation, notified area council, town area committee, town committee, or any other name, that doesn't matter. But if that agricultural land is situated within that, which has a population not less than 10,000, that means population of that area is more than that municipality, municipal corporation, candidate board, etc. are not less than 10,000. That means 10,000 and above. Then that is will be treated as a urban agricultural land. Consequently, that will be treated as a capital asset. Understood? Urban agricultural lands are kept class. Or point B, it says any area within the distance which is to be measured aerially. So you have to see the aerial distance. Okay, to be measured aerially, not being two or more, not being two, not being more than 2 kilometers from the local limits of any municipality or cantonment road, etc., which has a population of more than 10,000 but not exceeding 1 lakh. If the population is more than 10,000 but not exceeding 1 lakh and the land is situated within 2 kilometers, in that case, that is an urban agricultural land, that will be a kept class. Or not being more than 6 kilometers within the local limits of any municipality, cantonment board, which has a population of more than 1 lakh but exceeding 10 lakh. If this is the kind of situation, within 6 kilometers, whatever land is there, even if agricultural land, that will be treated as urban agricultural land and that will be considered as capital asset. Okay. Or third situation is that not being more than 8 kilometers from the local limits of any municipality, cantonment board, etc., which is a population of more than 10 lakh. If the population is more than 10 lakh, then if land is situated within 8 kilometers, then what will happen? It will be treated as a capital asset. Okay, so if you take our city, Bhubaneswar, so you'll find population is more than 10 lakh, but not more than 10 lakh. Yeah, population is more than 10 lakh, then you have to see 8 kilometers is the appropriate. Okay. Okay, and the population figure has to take in from the last preceding census. So one has to verify actually what is the population. Accordingly, you have to see whether this land is rural agricultural land or urban agricultural land. So I can summarize like this: if the population is of the municipality is more than 10,000, so area is 2 kilometers. Within 2 kilometers, whatever property is located, that is urban. If the population is more than 1 lakh, then from 2 kilometers to 6 kilometers, more than 2 kilometers, but up to 6 kilometers. If it is more than 10 lakh rupees, then up to 6 kilometers, whatever property is there, they will be treated as urban agricultural land. Understood this concept? And once it is urban agricultural land, it is a capital asset. Did you understand? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Now, I told you 3 items which are not capital assets. Fourth item is 6% gold bonds. They are also not capital asset. Special bearer bonds, 1991. They are also not capital asset. Then gold deposit bonds issued under gold deposit scheme in the year 1999. Okay, or deposit certificate issued by gold monetization scheme in 2015, notified by central government. These assets are also not capital asset. Capital asset does not include this. Okay, so this is broadly you have understood. But the capital asset means two things are included, but 6 exceptions are there. Okay, so quickly we'll summarize some exceptions. We'll see this. You see, or this example we'll see it. A house property used for personal purpose is a capital asset. Household furniture is a personal effect, is not a capital asset. Jewelry is specifically excluded from the exclusions, that's a capital asset. Car held for personal use is a capital asset. Stamps collection as a hobby is a personal effect. Silver utensils held for daily use is a capital asset. In a case law, it has been decided it is a capital asset. Statute of debtors made of precious metal, etc., that are personal effect. That was also because of this decision of the court. We are saying this is a personal effect. The matter had went to the court where it has been decided. Then household furnitures are personal effect. Okay, the debtors are personal effect. Household furniture are sorry. Yeah, but effect. Now we'll say this thing. Next point. Yeah, few other examples you see. Gold coins are capital asset. Silver coin held for puja are personal effect. Archaeological collections, drawings, paintings, sculptures, artwork, all these things are capital assets. Okay. Now, if I summarize at this stage, what is capital asset? This chart is visible to you.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
You see, capital asset is defined under section 214. Property held of any kind, property of any kind held by an assessee, whether or not connected with his business profession. This is one thing. Then securities held by foreign institutional investors, which is invested as per SEBI regulations. That is one thing. These two are capital assets. But there are exclusions like this: stock in trade, consumable stores, raw material, personal effect. Personal effect excludes that jewelry. Okay. That personal effect. Third one is rural agricultural land. That 6% gold bonds, 7% gold bonds 1980, National Defense Gold Bond, special bearer bonds issued by central government. Then is gold deposit bonds issued under gold deposit scheme in 1999. Certificate issued under gold monetization scheme in the year 2015 to 18. Okay, so these are things which are excluded. But this personal effect has exceptions like jewelry, archaeological collections, drawings, paintings, or sculptures, and any artwork. So this is the meaning of capital asset. We have broadly understood. Okay, friends, is it clear to you? Now, you already know what is the meaning of capital asset. Okay, so when a receipt is related to fixed capital, that's a capital asset. When it is related to circulating capital, it's a revenue receipt. Right? Revenue receipts are normally taxable. They are treated as income. The capital assets are normally exempt, but they are, if they are specifically included in the definition of income, then it is taxable. Okay, this concept we had already discussed when earlier in our initial classes we are discussing about the concept of income. So not repeating at this stage. Now, friends, having understood there is a capital asset, now we need to understand what is the long-term capital asset, what is the short-term capital asset. Okay, so for that thing we have to refer to section 242A. So you can go there. I'm not taking you that this section. Okay, let me show you that thing. 242A. Just let me show you. Again, oh, we're already in the section. We were in fact already in the section 2. Doesn't matter. We'll go to Income Tax Act now. Again, I'll be taking you to 242, section 2, clause 42A. Are you watching it? Now you see. Are you seeing 242A? You see short-term capital asset. This is again a long definition. You see one line definition, but certain provisions are also there. Short-term capital means the capital asset held by the assessee for not more than 36 months, immediately preceding the date of transfer. We'll try to understand it with the help of our slide. Same thing I'll be explaining you in the slides. What is short-term capital asset? Means a capital asset held by the assessee for not more than 36 months. That means up to 36 months one can be holding an asset and it shall be regarded as short-term capital asset. Immediately preceding the date of transfer. you have to see what is the date of transfer. Immediately prior to that, if the asset is held up to 36 months, then it is a short-term capital asset. If it is more than 36 months, that will be treated as a long-term capital asset. The definition of long-term capital asset is provided in section 229A. Here it says long-term capital asset means capital asset which is not a short-term capital asset. So once you know long-term capital asset, once you know short-term capital asset, then we can easily find out which is not a long-term capital asset. So what should be the period of holding? What is the what should be the maximum period of holding for short-term capital asset?
36 months.
36 months. Suppose you have a capital asset. Let us say you have a building. You are holding it for 34 months. Okay, I will not take an example of building. There are certain exceptions to that. But let us say you got some other asset. Let's say you got a machine, you got a computer, right? And you are holding it for 30 months. That is short-term capital asset or long-term capital asset? You are holding a computer and you are holding it for 30 months. Is it short-term or long-term?
It is short-term.
Is short-term. 30 months. 30 months is not more than 36 months. Suppose you will be holding it for 37 months, then it's a long. Okay, but you are holding it for not more than 36 months, then it is a short-term capital asset. Okay, when this is a normal provision, there are again certain exceptions to that. What are these exceptions? So you know 36 months is the key now. But in case of securities other than a unit, securities listed in recognized stock exchange, or a unit of equity oriented fund, or a unit of the UTI, or a zero coupon bond. Okay, all these things shall be considered as long term if they are held for more than 12 months. That means the 36 months shall be read as 12 months in these kind of securities. So even if it is held for, let us say, 13 months, then it is a long term. Which cases? Only these cases. Okay, recognized securities which are listed in recognized stock exchange. Second exception is that movable property, land and building. Sorry, immovable property being land and building. Here it will be treated. Here 26 months is the criteria. If it is more than 26 months, it is long term. Right. So like this, there are certain exceptions. There are 3 exceptions are there. This part again, how to classify short term, long term, I will be explaining you in your next class. Okay. Today we have understood this what is capital asset, but exactly how to classify it is long term and short term. We know prime criteria 36 months.